Lesson 3, Introduction. The project management cycle. A project life cycle is the sequence of phases that a project goes through from its initiation to its closure. The number and sequence of the cycle is determined by the management and various other factors like the needs of the organization involved in the project, the nature of the project, and its area of application. In development project management, the phases are initiate, plan, implement, monitor, adapt, and close. The use of phases helps keep the project on track and helps determine if the project should continue, be redirected, or be terminated. Each phase acts as a gateway to review how the project is doing before moving to the next phase. These phases have different levels of effort. The amount of work that you need to do in each phase will be different. As the project moves from the initiation phase, the effort increases until it reaches a peak during the implementation, where the phases of monitoring and adapting also occur. This curve helps you understand the dynamics that occur in project life cycle and will be related to how you need to plan your budget. The project management cycle starts with the initiation phase, where the project is approved to start work to organize the team and the work environment. Then, the planning phase. The team will work on the development and the management plans for the 9 project management processes. Then, in the implementing phase, the team will start the work to produce all project deliverables. The monitoring phase is to control the work and check the early results to see if there is a need for any changes or modifications. When changes are needed, they are executed in the adapting phase. This is where you will review the request for changes, get approval, and update the plans. Then, you will need to move to the next cycle and continue with the implementation phase. Once all that work is completed and there is no more need for changes, you will move the project to the closing phase. There can be many cycles depending on the size and complexity of a project. On the first cycle, you will use all these phases: initiating, planning, implementing, monitoring, adapting, and then closing phase in your first cycle. Then on the second cycle, you go through the same phases. The project management cycle continues in a spiral fashion until the project is completed and closed. Each cycle is improved based on the lessons learned from the previous cycle. It is a process to continuously improve the project. There is a difference between the project cycle and the project management cycle. When a project idea is initiated, there is a set of people in the organization that is in charge of designing the project, usually as a response to a donor proposal. Once the project is approved and the funds are available, there is the appointment of a project manager who is going to be in charge of all the phases to manage the project. There will be another team or group in charge of the evaluation and the audit. This is the project cycle, where different people are responsible for those 3 areas. In the project management cycle, there is only one person who is held responsible, and is the project manager. Let's look in more detail at the project cycle. At the start, you will have a person who is in charge of programming and the alignment of the strategies who will approve the project concept. Then, there is another person responsible for the analysis of the problem. Then, another person or group in charge of the design of the project, which includes the project proposal. Then there is implementation, managed by a different person. Then at the end, there will be a person or group responsible for the evaluation of the project. The evaluation reports will include recommendations that will help future projects. These are the critical components of a project cycle. In the project management cycle, there is only one person responsible for all the phases, from initiation, planning, implementing, monitoring, adapting, and closing the project. The project manager and the team will start the project with an analysis of the project proposal and the design elements that identifies assumptions, risks, and constraints. And they will develop all the management plans to implement the project. An organization should not make the mistake to treat these 2 cycles as one single cycle. Both require different processes and are managed by different people. They are integrated, but the project management cycle is unique in its approach.